Hello and welcome to the What the Fork Monarchs Friday Focus. Myself, Graham Munsey, joined by Dave Harley as we look back on another draw, the third one of the season here at Armadale, 45-45 between the What the Fork Monarchs and the Birmingham Brummies. We'll hear from Monarchs' Josh Pickering, Birmingham's Paco Castagna, and as always we'll have a race tonight, which tonight off the top of my head was heat number 3 and another Josh Pickering outside blast. Dave, we knew in the run-up to the match it wasn't going to be easy. Birmingham have got a solid outfit. Of course, Edinburgh, 2 changes introduced this week. Rider replacement still running for Ritchie, and then the news coming through last night that Nathan Greaves had decided to step down from the sport. No guests readily available. Archie Freeman did step in, so we knew it was going to be a challenge, and it proved to be a tough match right from the off.
Yeah, a really tough match. We've not had our troubles to seek this week. It's been really difficult, and that news last night was really not good for us. I hope Nathan's okay and does pick up and maybe gets back into sport again when he's had a chance to recover. Yeah. It was a tough old meeting. We know it's going to be that again. We're forced to do rider replacement at number 5. It's never really worked out. And then through the meeting we've got mistakes, and unfortunately Kai coming off, and suddenly we find ourselves 10 points behind. So from that position, getting back to a draw is probably good, but it's fantastic with Drew Kemp picking up in the second half of the meeting.
Yeah, you mentioned that there. It's one of those strange results in matches, isn't it, that at 10 down, if you'd offered us a draw, would have bitten your hand off. At 2 down going into heat 15, and then Eric Riss gets disqualified in the first run-in, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. You've then got Chris Harris off what had been pretty much a graveyard, gate number 1, and Josh and Sam off at 2. So from 1 point to get 1 point, at certain ways you're delighted with it, certain ways you're disappointed, and I guess the Brummies will feel the same. To be 10 points up and only get a draw, they'll be thinking what could have been. But in the same way over the piece, they'll say actually to come to Armadale and get a draw is maybe not a terrible result as well. So a weird one. Is anyone going home happy or is anyone going home sad, Dave? I can't make my mind up how I'm feeling.
Going confused. I'm going to be confused. Yeah, as you say, I think Birmingham will be looking at it as a massive missed opportunity. I was thinking they were going before at one point.
Yeah, 10 up and Kai at the meeting.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, I'm saying to Scott, look, maybe just getting them back down to only getting 3 points out of the meeting.
Yep.
If we can then go to Birmingham and get a result, that's maybe a small thing. But obviously, as I say, Drew Kemp turned up and rode back into it. Fantastic, and some fantastic racing and gates from him. Unfortunately, heat 13, the gate was our problem, and we've let Chris and Eric go. But yeah, no, I'm really close scoring. Maybe I didn't quite hit the heights with the racing tonight, but the score and the drama more than made up for another great night's entertainment at Armadale.
Yeah, you mentioned that there. Of course, if we put a football analogy in, it was a game of 2 halves for Drew tonight, wasn't it? His first 3 races, I think, was at 1 point. 2 points from his first 3 races, and then he rhymes off, paid 9 from his last 4, and that included a heat 13 last. When, you know what, we'll probably discuss, but neither team manager will be particularly happy with Mr McGregor tonight. Heat 13, the movement at the start by Eric Riss and Drew Kemp, the ref lets it go, and Brummies are away on a 5-1. You know what, not to say it wouldn't happen, Sam was off that graveyard gate number 1,
yep.
So it might not happen, but just annoying that the race was dead and buried by the first bend on that one. So a fantastic performance in Drew's debut, and you know what, I think he was maybe a little bit unsure about joining the Monarchs and riding Armadale after his performance last week, but I'm sure he's driving. It's a long drive.
Yeah, he's going home smiling tonight for sure, and that is the Drew Kemp that, you know, when you see him early in the season, he is a hot prospect in British Speedway. He's still just 19.
Still 19, yep.
Lots and lots of promise, and it's a great signing for Edinburgh, and it's taken him six races to get to the stage where he is. But if he starts like that next week, I'll be looking for a big first leg lead from next week's match.
Oh, there we go. Pressure on already. 7 days in advance for Dave Harley. So it was Kemp's performance that probably helped turn around. You know, we knew what we were going to get out of Sam and Josh. Both of them excellent. Paid 16, 15 plus 1 each, which I know Derek, that does the scorecard for the BSP website, absolutely hates when 2 riders have the same top score because it makes a lot more work for him. So it was double duty for that tonight because Birmingham had joint top scorers exactly as well. So we knew what we'd get with them, but Drew was the sort of catalyst to get us back in. However, as we mentioned, those paid 16s from both Sam and Josh were key, and Josh so left maybe just a little bit disappointed he couldn't finish the job for the Monarchs in Heat 15, and I caught up with him after the match. So Josh, up and down night for the Monarchs, 10 down at one point, come back, go to the last race, needing a 5-1, finishes up a draw. There's positives to take and there's negatives to take.
Yeah, I feel like I let the team down, to be honest. It's, I won the races I had to, I suppose. I still got paid 16 on the night or whatever, but that last race I stuffed it up in my opinion, and ending on that note, I feel like I've lost. But anyway.
Overall, though, the spirit in the camp at 10 down and Kai's crashed out the meeting, the heads could have went down, but it's not football, but if we'll call it a match of two halves, what a second end of the match by Drew Kemp, and really sort of picked the rest of the boys up and given us that honest to go on and at least get something out of the match.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great debut for Drew. He's he's a little bit hesitant at first, but he got going in the end, and he got that heat win, and then he come on to get another one, and then he come and get another paid win later on the night. So that was unbelievable from him. Sam, again, he's different class. He's unreal. Obviously I chipped in as well, which was I done what I had to do. But yeah, it's just it's a little bit disappointing to I really wanted to get that win then, so it's a bit disappointing.
Yeah, and that's obviously the home league campaign finished. Still got one cup match to go, but now we probably know we've got 3 tracks to go away from, and points probably required. But places we've gone down in the past, and places the team will be going looking to get results.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Like as you said, we've got a good 1-7. It's a shame that Nathan's decided to part with the sport. Which, he's a good young rider and he's a nice kid, so hopefully he can sort things out. He's too young to give it away yet, and hopefully he can get his head right. But for everyone else, man, if like Tanders and Drew, they've been going great in the premiership all year. It started very, very strong for Ipswich. Now we've got them in the side. As soon as we get Richie back, I think it's going to be a different story. Riding RR for him, it's quite difficult. It's not because the races are hard or anything like that. It's just that myself, Sam and Kyle, we don't get a break. It's like I was out heat 3, heat 5, heat 7, heat 9, heat 11, heat 14, heat 15. I was out half the races tonight. It was just, you don't get time to rest, but when it's going good, it's not too bad to deal with. But just disappointed when you get the win for the team tonight.
And obviously, another crack at Birmingham next Friday in the Cup. We know how difficult it will be, but hopefully back to a full 1-7 and the boys can put a show on. Yeah,
Ridge coming back next week. Hopefully that's going to be a good turnaround for us. And I suppose it's just one of them things. The air's getting colder now. The season's getting longer. It's, catching up on Reynos and things like that. It's been a good year, big year, successful year for me. I'm quite happy with how things have gone on. But at the end of the day, it was just a shame we couldn't get a win for the team tonight.
So yeah, a little bit rueful. Josh Pickering there, a good night work, paid 16 from 7, but maybe that little sense of disappointment from him that he couldn't complete the job. But Chris Harris, a former world number 6, a Grand Prix winner, and you could see he knew exactly what he wanted to do. He knew gate 1, he was never going to make a jump off of there. So as soon as he missed the gate, he was straight to the outside. And I'm sure if the same thing happens next week, Josh will make sure he's right to that outside dirt line.
It's so clever from Chris, because I don't think he even tried to make the gate. I think he gave up the gate and went, I'm going outside, I'll make a run for it. If I get first, fair enough, but I'll definitely get second with Josh trying to cut me down. And Chris Hart's a great rider. And Heat 15, trying to get a 5-1 against him is always going to be a tough ask. But there's maybe the race earlier in the meeting where Josh is... Not quite got there. We went from what should have been a 5-1 with Josh and Kai to a 1-5 in that bad crash that Kai had. So hopefully he's okay. He's a bit banged up, but thinks him should be okay for next week. But maybe early to say that, I think.
Yeah, we'll see. I guess it's like anything. Once adrenaline wears off and stuff. But Kai was up about. He was still walking about the pits. There was no need for further medical assistance or anything. So fingers crossed. As I say, it's just a knock, and we'll have Kai back in the 1-7. Happy to go next Friday. Dave, if we flip it over to the Birmingham side, again, what will probably please you now, it's got a compact night's work. You look down the scorecard and it's a 6-man team. James Shane surprisingly didn't score, but outside of that, 7, 8, 8, 10, 10. Solid scoring down the line.
Yeah, Jack Thomas having his best meet here. You're always pretty know Paco Castagna's going to go well. He's a game rider, always got a good gait in him, and Ashley Morris as well. It's a great move in Heat 3, and we'll see shortly to get into the lead.
Yep.
And he's been good all night until we finally got better of him in Heat 14. But as I said, they'll be looking at James Shanes and thinking that could have made the difference.
Yep.
But then the same side, Grobauer with maybe a bit of armadillitis, you never know, and it made him a little bit stronger.
Fairly heavy knock he did take on Wednesday. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and we'll see if he's here next Friday.
Well, hopefully, it'd be great to see him here and see him riding for Birmingham.
One man that was here and put on a bit of a show for us, an excellent night's work, was Paco Castagna. Paco, always a showman, very popular everywhere, and he was more than happy to speak to me after the meeting. We'll hear from Castagna now. So Paco, it's an up and down night for both teams, and it finishes all square. Scythian in the Birmingham camp after that. Points run away, or would you take 2 points on the board when you're coming up the road today?
I always say that you always have to look at the positives, and I think that Edinburgh at home are always a tough match to go to, and I think we should be happy about our result. But on the other side, I think that we should have done. We done our job, and 8-15 was the decider, and it was the first corner bouncing, and shouldn't have been that, but should have won it. On the other side, I think 2 points is good. I've done good. I'm very happy about my performance, and I think we should all be happy and try to push for the playoffs now.
Yeah, you mentioned the playoffs there. Obviously, Edinburgh and Birmingham, two of the teams going for those last places. So not only is it points gained for the Brummies, it's points lost for the Monarchs. So it's a double positive for Birmingham.
Yeah, I think we should be happy, but you always have that kind of feeling that we should have done a bit more, I don't know, it's just a shame that it wasn't on us, because I think we've done good enough, but it wasn't on our hands. We should all be happy, go home, think about the next meeting. It's going to be a hard meeting against Redcar on Wednesday, and think about that. We should win that.
And you mentioned Heat 15 there. I'm guessing Eric was probably pretty angry when he came back into the pits.
All of us were, because Edinburgh is that place like Plymouth, it's first corner, tight first corner, everybody's going for that spot, so there's always going to be pushing and crashing, so you can't really exclude anybody in the first corner. It's a shame that we lost the meeting, or we lost extra points because of that. We worked hard in the pits all night long. We should be happy, and think about the positives. We should be happy, keep on going for the playoffs. And
then you get to come back in 7 days' time and do it all again?
I'm fairly happy about my performance, so I'm looking forward to that. But again, I didn't expect to come here and do quite well like I did, and I'm happy about the performance, and now taking everything into next week.
Good night work from Paco, and we see his social media is fantastic. And also, what I did notice, actually one of the first that was on the track to make sure Kai was okay after Kai, even though he wasn't even in the race.
Yeah, definitely. He's there trying to help him. Probably just making jokes or something like that to try and cheer him up. That sort of thing. He has a lively character. It's what the sport needs, and it's always good to see guys like that. And again, maybe he tailed off a bit towards the end of the meeting as Kemp grew into it, and that's where it got better. But it'll be interesting with the Birmingham all having the 6 of their 7 riders all having a good look at the track tonight, and come back here next week looking for the cup match.
Yep, Birmingham, of course, our next visitors here next Friday in the KO Cup quarter-final first leg. Until then, we'll be back, or I'll be back. Dave, you're swanning off with the Tartan Army.
I'll be back by then, but yes.
You'll be back, yeah. So you won't be on during the week for the Monarchs preview show. It'll be myself and a standing guest to be announced. So we'll have that for you during the week. Until then, we'll leave you with heat number 3, of course, our race of the night, and a Josh Pickering special round the outside. Probably the key pair in for both teams here, Mike. So Thompson and Pickering being a strong engine room for the Monarchs, and we've seen how strong the rest of the Birmingham team could be. So Shanes and Morris, if they can get amongst it, would really help the Brummies cause.
Thompson away very well, and Pickering's there too. Thompson made a big mistake though. My goodness, that's allowed Ashley Morris to go flying through the middle. Down comes James Shanes at the back. Josh giving it everything to try and pass Morris. He's got quick line there, and Pickering round him with great style. What can Kai Thompson do? Changes back on half a lap behind. Thompson coming into his last lap, moving into challenge. No go though. Ashley Morris gets second, and I think that's an important point for Ashley there. He was taken by one of the Monarchs, but it did look as though from the start Monarchs would get all 5 until Kai ran into problems on the first corner. So the Brummies still lead.
Heat number 3, a win in blue for the Monarchs, Josh Pickering. Second in yellow was Ashley Morris. Third in red, Kai Thompson, and James Shanes in white at the back. A 4-2 to the What the Fork Monarchs means after heat number 3 it's 8 to the Monarchs and 10 to the Brummies. Another interesting race there, Dave. It looked like our two Aussies had made the start. Kai maybe moved off the line a little bit, allowing Morris to spot the pair, but Josh wasn't to be denied. And then Kai having a good battle, but Ashley wasn't going to make the same mistake and allow Thompson round him also.
Yeah, no, a great race so early in the meeting, as you say. Ash making a great cutback when Monarchs possibly slightly in each other's way, but that's when you got two guys going for a bit. That's what you're after, and Josh absolutely sensational going round, kind of get much closer to the fence than we know how Josh rides, and another great race. And that's all. They're good signs. They're the things that we come to watch, and hopefully we get Richie back next week, and we can build on that and go stronger, and possibly now need to go and win an away match, at least get a draw at Birmingham, but it's still there for us. Anders Rose not had the best debut, but his first time we saw the track, he's still coming back from that nasty injury, so maybe he'll just take a wee look at what Drew Kempton said, well, next week that'll be
and good to see Anders out doing a bit of testing afterwards, so the will's certainly there, and we'll see, as you mentioned, results elsewhere probably went the way the Monarchs would have liked tonight, so just a shame from the Monarchs' point of view that they couldn't get the 3 points, but it's all still to race for. 3 away matches still to go, but before that we'll be back for Birmingham next week. The Monarchs preview show during the week, and until we're back for that, thank you for watching and goodbye.